What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Nerfherder Council. I am your host, JT. We are live on Facebook and YouTube, both our channels and those of the Virtual Cantina Network. We are live at those locations every other Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you are watching on YouTube, on either of our channels, please remember to click the like button and the subscribe button, as well as hitting that notification bell so that you are notified every time we go live. We are brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/NHC for your 30-day trial and a free audiobook download. If you'd like to get customizable Nerfherder Council swag, go to shop.nerfherdercouncil.com. And if you'd like to get some awesome Virtual Cantina Network swag, just go to tpublic.com/user/virtual-cantina. If you are looking for audio replays of the Nerfherder Council, just Google Nerfherder Council. We are basically everywhere. So without further ado, let me bring on my esteemed co-host, my brother AJ. How's it going, man?
You know, it would be going better if our Guardians were playing a little better and scoring some runs, but otherwise, pretty good week, man. How you been?
Shitty. So I'm looking forward to watching the movie, and I got to go get me some alcohol. Because,
well, tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Chris Stapleton's Traveler Whiskey. It doesn't taste very good.
He's a better singer than
a distiller. Imagine that. Yeah.
There we go.
I got suckered in, man. I was watching the Browns on NFL Plus the last couple of weeks, and that's one of the streaming sponsors. So during commercial breaks, I get to see ads for this whiskey, and I'm like, what the hell? The guy sings about whiskey pretty good, but apparently he doesn't blend a good one. So
exactly.
Swing and a miss.
Kale McLeish Tuna says, Drakes, my fortnightly nightmare. How's it going, lads? I have had one hell of a day, Kale. So I'm looking forward to having some drinks and just watching a movie. Thankfully, it's one of my very favorite movies. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't usually do watch-alongs. I'm trying to remember if I've actually done a watch-along on our show. I know I've done them like behind the scenes with friends, just hanging out on StreamYard, but I don't know that I've ever done a quote-unquote official one. It's a
good time, man. It's a good time. Now, we're going to try not to get kicked offline tonight, but we're going to be sharing a frame of the movie every 10 seconds just so people can stay synced up with us a little bit, but there will be no sound or anything. So fingers crossed. We're one for two in streaming every 5 seconds without YouTube kicking us off. So we'll see how this goes.
I wonder if it has to be. Let me think what the logic would be. Would it be like every 2 seconds? Because that way the image changes and doesn't stay on the screen as long? Or would it be, is it 10 seconds because there's less we're showing?
Well, that's the thing is, we set the frame rate down on the video tab that we're sharing to 0.1. So it's 1/10 of a second, 1/10 of a frame per second, which equates out to one frame every 10 seconds.
I'm glad you can do this math. Because I sure as shit can't.
Well, if I ever get around to having a Friday evening free again, Trek ABV will resume with Joseph Wren, who is actually engineering the show for us tonight. So thank you, sir.
He's the one who
set up all this video sharing. So
much appreciated.
Yeah, we pioneered on that for our drinking games with Star Trek Watchalongs.
There we go. Kale says, so I've done more watch-alongs than John has on this channel. Yeah, Kale, I think you have. I think you have. Nick Hall. This is Wiki Math. What's up, man? Good to see you. Quick Math. There he goes.
And Joe, the pork candy, it's pig candy, by the way, was too good and it's gone now. So please send more.
There we go.
It's a maple bacon bourbon that is available in St. Louis. So yeah, a little personal story. I actually went out to St. Louis a couple weeks ago and met Mr. Joseph Wren in person. So that was cool. A little online podcasting relationship into a true friendship now, haven't met in person. The dude was incredibly generous. It's the first time I've ever heard of the host giving a gift to the guest for staying the night. So I have a bottle of Four Roses small batch over there that he was kind enough to give me. And then we went out for barbecue and I really liked the bourbon that was there. So I bought myself a bottle.
Okay. All right, well, Kale McLeish, being that I have no ability to watch this film right now, I'm going to bounce back out and continue my Dream Theater deep diving before next week's big tour starts. Well, I mean, it is on Amazon Prime, Kale, so it is free on all streaming platforms where you can get Prime. So That's where we're going to be doing this. Joe wants to know
messing with Max then.
Joe wants to know if I can announce a secret for him. What is the secret? You gotta let me know what that is.
This is very weird because he's actually, behind the scenes in the StreamYard, so he could just send it in private chat, but here he is announcing his stuff on YouTube comments instead. So, okay, whatever.
Kale says he doesn't have Prime. What the hell is that? Kale, everybody's got Prime. Kale, I wonder if I could set up a profile for you real quick on mine and then give you the login, because I haven't given you enough today. I'm not allowed to talk about what that means, but he knows what I'm talking about.
Well, for Kale, the Prime isn't available. It's just Prime.
Nice. Yeah, Kale, I can always add you as a user on my account if you want to do the login. So just let me know. I can shoot you a private message here. Oh, I never shared this damn thing. There we go. I might want to do that. There we go. I am just all over the map today. It's a good thing that this is just us bullshitting about a movie, because I am all discombobulated. I had a shit day at work. I tried out a new, I tried to cook something just totally on the cuff. I tried to actually smoke a roast for several hours, and it looked like it was undercooked and turned out a teeny bit overcooked, but it was actually reasonably good. And then problems down here, as I told you, with the damn plumbing. And I'm just like, I'm all discombobulated.
Oh, man. Everybody pour one out for JT. Or better yet, social. Here we go.
Yeah. I'm going to pour one out for myself here in a minute. So I may let you talk about this for a second on your own. And you're not as familiar with this as I am.
No, go get yourself a beverage, man. Go get yourself a beverage.
Okay. I will do that, and you can talk about this movie, because you're not nearly as familiar with it as I am. You've only seen it once, or not at all, correct?
In pieces only, actually, yeah. So this is going to be a true watch along where you get to watch me react for the first time, seeing this thing in proper order. I remember actually that this is actually where how do I go? I want to go solo. How do I go solo?
Now I'm solo.
Yeah, how do I go solo? I was trying to give you cover so you could duck off and get yourself a beverage, man. This is a very loose show tonight, guys. Sorry.
I know. It's in the upper right corner of your little window, solo layout. You know how to do all this, like sharing and all this crap. You can't do solo. There you go.
I'm always using the controls below hand. Anyway,
I'll be right back, and then when I come back, we can get started. And again, don't forget, everybody, we are watching this on Amazon Prime, so it is free. So just look up
or Max if you're subscribed there.
Okay. Yeah, I'm doing Prime. I just searched for Nightmare on Elm Street 1984, and there it is. So I'll be right back.
Okay, there you go. So yeah, if you've been watching the show for a while, you'll know that we did the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, the 2010 Michael Bay movie. I think we titled that one "Worst Remake Ever?" ? And it might be like that is just not a good movie. It was even confusing and poorly made, let alone like not needing. I'm not one of those guys that like says like it's a classic. Don't you bother touching that movie. Like some stories need to be refreshed and told in a fresh way for a new audience. The little bit that I have seen of this movie so far, I've seen it in bits and pieces anyway. I don't feel like this is one of those movies that was crying out for an update. I think, everybody has this concept of like the boogeyman gets you in your sleep. Like that's kind of timeless on its own. I don't feel like we needed an update to modern horror movie standards in 2010 to like do that. It was just a way to, I guess, this might have been one of those plays where like the studio just wanted to keep the property alive so they could keep their trademarks and their copyrights going. I'm not really sure, but it's weird. As much as, we've all got those blind spots in our movie history. And I feel like there's so many movies out there, like no matter how many movies you think you've seen, someone could probably name something that's like super popular and basic. And you'd be like, crap, I ain't seen that one. But this one, in terms of horror movie stuff, I feel like this one might be, this is definitely in that pack of like 80s Renaissance horror movies. You had John Carpenter doing Halloween back in the 70s. I don't remember. Help me out in the chat here, guys. When did Friday the 13th come out, the first one? Because I feel like the mid 80s is when we got like some really, really seminal horror franchises starting up for the first time. Like I think probably Hellraiser came out around this time as well. And obviously, like I said, Friday the 13th, Halloween was already going strong by this point. Oh, there we go. Nick Hall, thanks for bailing me out, man. Okay, so 1980, you had Friday the 13th. So actually, this is one of the later of the classic horror movie franchises to come along. But it did come out in 1984. I was only 5 at the time. The fact that I was even alive puts me older than most of our audience, but still. There we go. Nick Hall with more facts. Halloween was 78. Friday was 80. Nightmare was 84. And Hellraiser was 88. Wow, I didn't realize it came in that late. Okay. So the 80s were a great decade for horror, but this is one of those ones where just I was too young when it came out, and frankly, it scared the piss out of me. So I was happy to not watch it at the time, and was very glad that I didn't have to watch it. And by the time I got old enough to watch horror movies, there was other stuff out to watch, and I just never circled back to this one. So JT, when was the first time that you saw this one?
I was a kid. God, I don't remember when. And Nick
you
is
were
right.
only 7 or 8 when this came out.
Yeah, I was 8.
8, yeah.
It wasn't too much longer after that. It was, I watched it with my friends because, mom and dad
we didn't rent horror movies as kids.
No, mom and dad wouldn't let us watch this kind of stuff. So I would go over to like Matt Gambino's house, like a good friend of mine in grade school, and he would have like birthday parties, and his parents didn't care. So that's where I first saw Hellraiser. I saw this one, and we just thought we were the coolest thing ever because we were like little kids watching people just get butchered. And that's why Hellraiser and Hellraiser 2 are still like 2 of my all-time favorites, because it was just, I was watching it like just thinking it was like so gross. And I was like, oh my God, my dad would kill me if he knew I was watching this shit. Like, oh, by the way, the views of the Nerfherder Council don't necessarily reflect those of the Virtual Cantina Network, and there may be bad language on our show. Forgot to say that earlier.
Yeah.
So,
oops.
Yeah. So yeah, no, but I was young. I was probably 10, 12 years old. It wasn't too much. Well, it was a few years removed from when the movie came out, but it wasn't after all of them had been out. So, it was cool, man. Like I say, it definitely creeped you out. But there's always been like a cool factor with Freddy. Even you guys are talking about Hellraiser and Friday the 13th and stuff like that, and even in Halloween, like those guys were just like straight evil, and Freddy was straight evil too. But there was always something just kind of cool about him. He had more personality.
Definitely.
Obviously it's because he talks, but
well, yeah, that's a pretty basic thing, right? You got Freddy and Jason, not Freddy and Jason, sorry, Michael Myers and Jason, who are silent. So it's really hard to give them a personality. The fact that they're devoid of personality is what makes them scary. I think Freddy's scary for just the opposite reason. Like, he's a person with a personality and still wants to kill you.
Yeah, completely, man. Yeah, Pinhead talks, but he's like, you're thinking, okay, he's straight out of hell, which is like terrifying as a kid. And the stuff he says is like, we'll tear your soul apart.
Yeah, he's like emo before emo,
I don't even know if it's emo so much as like I say, when I first saw that, I was like, this guy is like, holy shit, this guy is like chilling my piss. Because he just has that aura of like, you can't get away from him. Like, you are like a million times fucked if you run into this guy. Like,
right.
Okay,
and then you got Andrew Robinson at the end there. Jesus wept. Like, they're just like spouting metal lyrics,
Right. So real quick, funny story, and we'll get going. But speaking of that, I'm really glad a couple of my bandmates got the humor, but we played a wedding the other day, and there was I won't say if it's man or woman. I don't want to, but there was somebody there that was like, they had the ugliest smile I had ever seen. I mean, it was like, person looks normal, and all of a sudden they smile. You're like, Jesus. And it literally to me looked like someone had put hooks on either side of their eyes, and then either side of their lips, and just went, and then yanked back. So I told the guys, I was like, look over there, look at this. Wait till that person smiles. And they went, oh God. And I went, Jesus wept. And 2 of them just started dying laughing. The other 2 were like, I don't get it. Thankfully, 2 of them understood my Hellraiser reference. So that was good. So there we go. Yes, Kale, chilling my piss. That's definitely one from our dad. I've always loved
Hmm.
that one. As soon as I heard it, it stuck. So, um, Kale, best Halloween songs is going to be on Talking into Infinity, but it will not be. It may be the next episode. It may not. As you know, there's some Dream Theater news that we may have to get to before we get to that episode. So, stay tuned. Stay tuned.
I think the
So,
next musical episode that we might end up doing on this show would be centered around that John Williams documentary that's going to Disney Plus, or maybe already is on Disney
hell
Plus.
yes. I think it's November 1st, I want to say.
Yeah. So that coming out of spooky month, we might do that.
Right.
All right. You want to get to this movie before we
I would
bullshit
love
about
to
the
get to
movie
this
and run
movie.
out of things to say before we've watched it?
Yes. All right. So I'm on Amazon Prime. And how do you guys do your countdown? Is this just like 3, 2, 1, play?
Yeah, as far as I know.
All right. All right. So pull up the screen here that you have shared so the people know exactly where we're at.
All right.
And once again, guys, like I said, I'm using Amazon Prime. AJ said it's on Max, but I'll be on Prime. That seems to be the easiest one. And we're gonna have it's up on the screen, but like one image every 10 seconds. So we're hoping not to get bumped.
Mhm.
So we shall see what happens. But is that what we're doing, man? We're doing 3, 2, 1, play.
Yeah, I think that'll work.
Okay.
Joe, let us know if that doesn't work for you because you're the one engineering this whole thing. It's so
I
cool
almost
having
just went,
someone working background for us,
I feel like a slacker.
right? Not having to do it all ourselves.
All right. Joe says he's ready. All right, guys. So here we go. We are about to play. Again, I'm on Amazon Prime. It is free there if you'd like to watch along. AJ, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All righty. Oh yeah, we're going on 3, 2, 1, play. One last time so everybody knows. Okay. Here we
Mhm.
go. 3, 2, 1, play.
That's weird. So they're doing like a little mini picture here.
Mm-hmm.
I do love that they're just jumping right into. Looks like Freddy's already Freddy, I'm guessing.
Well, you can see the hands. I mean, he's not all burned up right here, as you can tell.
I was wondering about that because his sweater already looks like trash.
Well, he is down in a furnace room or whatever it is, the boiler room.
You know, that's one thing that kind of gets overlooked is like this guy, he made all this stuff himself. Like he'd have made a hell of a cosplayer in another life. Oh my God, what an 80s logo.
Well, and the music is just awesome.
Mhm.
I mean,
I see. Are we going to see any naughty parts in this?
um,
I hadn't thought about that when we started sharing frames.
oh, I
I'm
don't
just seeing a
remember.
girl running in a white nightgown here. That's like episode
No,
4 Princess Leia territory.
no, I think there might be a part with like some blood where it soaks through, but um,
I forgot that Johnny Depp was in this, by the way.
if I remember right, I think it was his first movie.
Okay, so she's terrified of goats. Got it. Or sheep, rather.
I mean, the cool thing about this dude is it gets right into it. Like, there's like no build. I mean, this isn't like an overly long scene, but still, you see a
Mhm.
dude putting on a glove with knives on the fingers. You're like, what the hell? Then there's this chick in a nightgown in a boiler room factory looking type thing, and you're like, what the hell's going on?
Mhm.
So right off the bat, they're like, okay, we're gonna scare your ass. So then when you get to the regular stuff as the start of the movie, You already have the nerves built up a little more than you normally would. Like, I mean, because 'cause you're gonna be nervous going into a horror movie, and but you're gonna be really nervous if you have already seen something right off the rip because 'cause you're like, "Oh god, what's coming next?"
Yeah. I'm kind of just waiting for the T-800 and the T-1000 to start fighting, though.
Call to John now. But she's running fast.
That oh my god. Even by horror movie standards, that is horrible running. Wow. Is Freddy deaf? Oh god, that's the scariest thing I've seen so far. Jeez, mom. Was that Kevin Spacey?
Boy, she does look a little haggard there, doesn't she? But then again, that's kind of like a theme in a couple of these movies, like the shitty parent,
That's like such a horror movie trope, right? Like the kids are always the ones getting messed with, and the parents don't believe them.
right? See, this just has such like a creepy vibe right off the bat. You're like, "What the hell's going on?"
Why are kids always so creepy?
That's a good question. I like how it's all fuzzy and then it gets clear. That's
Mhm.
pretty cool. Mimar introducing Johnny Depp with industrial area pajama girl. Nice. Discuss Metal Joe. Maybe I should give you guys a 5-second delay. Oh, small dick joke.
Ooh,
Oh, up yours with a twirling lawnmower. Burned her.
how is this up yours? Boy, I'll tell you, man, these 80s movies, the dialogue replacement is
Amazing.
they don't even try to like match sound.
Who gives a shit? It's gone.
Yeah.
But see, you know what, dude? I love these things, man, because like it adds to the cheesiness of and the cheesiness and the imperfections give it so much personality. Especially stuff like this, which this movie was done on like 0 budget. So,
Yeah, well, that's something about horror movies too, isn't it? It's like it's always a shoestring budget. Do you feel like that makes them better?
yeah, yeah, honestly, for me, like, I mean, I love a ton of horror movies, but again, there's just something that's, like, so atmospheric and visceral about stuff like this when you can't make I mean, sometimes it really takes away from it, obviously. I mean, if you go and watch something like Friday the 13th Part 3, the one that's in 3D, it's a little shitty. Here we have the sound effects going crazy.
Machine guns.
Right? We needed a Wilhelm scream in there.
Right.
Yep. Here we go. Nick has a very good point. Limitation breeds ingenuity. Completely agree with that. It really does, it completely inspires, just some really creative stuff. But again, like the scene in Friday the 13th Part 3 where he basically crushes the guy's head and the eye's supposed to shoot at you in 3D. Holy god, does that look terrible. Like, it's just not good.
I mean, credit to them for trying things, but still, man.
Yeah. See, I think one of the things that's good about this, AJ, is that so many of these movies can get, and even these movies later on in the series just get so campy, like they're cheesy. Like this one, it doesn't really ever really venture into cheese territory too much. Like you can take it seriously. You know what I mean? Like you're
Wait, this
never
one
really,
doesn't get cheesy? Are you serious?
dude, because you're not really pulled out of the atmosphere by something that's so egregious. You know, like just so eye rolling.
I mean, I suppose. I feel like there's a lot of very cringe stuff in here, but that's.
But see, but you do that though. You tend to watch these things with and you watch it through a different lens than I do. Who's going to get his ugly lights punched out? Up his with a twirling lawnmower.
Yeah, you drugly lights.
Directly lights. Johnny Depp better watch out sleeping over. He might find a turd on his pillow.
No, I'm going to tweak our layout just a little bit here. There we go. If it was an orgy, it'd be a very different movie.
Yeah. His face.
That's one of the things I love about these, especially these 80s horror movies, but just horror movies in general. They're always teenagers and writers trying to write dialogue that are clearly not the age of the characters. It's just hilariously bad.
Right. See, but again, I don't think this one is that bad. Shane O'Mac, good to see you. Says Dream Warriors is the best though. Shane, I have such a hard time deciding on whether it's this one or Dream Warriors. They're both amazing. Okay, what the fuck? Is there dog barking in the back of this movie, or is my dog going nuts upstairs?
Your dog's going nuts upstairs.
I keep hearing dogs every time I pull my ear out. The dog stops barking. Oh, that's in the you asshole. I wasn't sure. It's like right at that perfect volume that it could be like upstairs.
I thought you'd seen this movie before, man. I thought you wouldn't fall for that.
I'm not listening for dogs in the background. Well,
okay, so now per horror movie rules, because okay, full transparency to the audience, one of the movies that is on the watch list, if we want to do more watch-alongs, is Scream. So horror movie trope: if you get laid, you will die.
I don't remember if there's boobies here or not. I don't think so.
Oh boy, I hope not.
Nope.
That's something I rarely say, but we're podcasting right now, so.
And our luck would be that's right where the frame would freeze.
Right.
It's gonna freeze right with a giant breast right on the screen. Sorry,
10 seconds of titty, brought to you by the Nerfherder Council.
Right. So for anybody watching or listening, if you have not seen it, I think it's also on Prime, but there is a kick-ass documentary about the making of all of the Freddy movies, up through Freddy versus Jason. It's called Never Sleep Again. I think it's like 4 hours or 4.5 hours long. It's also on Prime. It is excellent. I would highly recommend it. I've watched it several times.
Oh, this is a racy film. I just Googled it. Two teens are seen lying in bed together, and two other teens share a kiss. And teen
Oh,
girls are shown to wear tight, sexy clothing from time to time.
wow. They
And
have that
Freddie
in an 80s
occasionally
movie?
makes some sexual remarks aimed at teen girls.
Wow.
Parents Television Council is going to be all over this.
God, we're so old. Old school. Joseph Friend says, I seriously don't think there is, meaning nudity, because these are supposed to be teenagers. Dude,
Okay,
just like
okay, I have seen this movie before because I remember this being ridiculous coming up here.
okay. See, you watch it in a different lens. You don't generally just like immerse yourself in the
No, but
atmosphere of it and everything. You're like, oh well, look at the CG. Look at this
no,
is effed up.
no,
This is effed up. Like,
that's not what I mean. I mean, like, I know. I
I
mean,
know
are there really
exactly what you're
spoilers
talking
for a
about.
watch along for a movie made in 1984?
I mean, you can wait till we get there, but I mean,
Okay.
Shane O'Mac, you are not wrong. Dream Warriors is a great story and has Dokken. Yeah, that's my favorite Dokken tune as well. So
What is supposed to be poking through there?
that's Freddy. It's
Is
his
it
face
supposed to
and
be
his
this?
hands.
Okay.
See, this shit's just cool, man.
That, dude, some of the effects that they pull off on a shoestring budget are really impressive. Like, it's such a
Yeah.
simple thing.
Well, and this was like totally groundbreaking stuff in 1984. It wasn't just like, hey, there's a killer guy. You
Hmm.
know, it's like, and then people are gonna die. Like this is like really inventive.
And it kind of sells the effect right there, the way she knocks on it, and it's like, okay, that's a solid wall.
Yeah. And you never know like who's asleep and who isn't a lot of the time.
Hmm.
You know, like right now, like, Tina is, is she asleep? Did she hear something? Damn it, there goes my dog barking upstairs again.
Okay, I'm gonna guess that this actually has stereo sound, and I only have one earpiece in, so I'm actually not hearing a dog bark.
Oh, I am. And
But
the
apparently, I
dog
can voice activate volume somehow. I've done that 3 times now on this show. Somehow, my Windows computer is voice activating a volume change.
yeah, the dog is in the left ear because that's the one I was pulling out to see if it was my dog upstairs. And that's when I pulled out the left earbud, that's when the dog stopped barking. All right, here it comes, AJ, the part you were complaining about.
No, this isn't it. Sorry.
The
I
super
mean, this
long
is
arms.
cheesy, but it's hilarious. You see, those 2 actors playing Freddy were clearly not the same height, so it wasn't a very effective effect.
It's just like the soundtrack itself is I listen to this soundtrack just by itself, and it's totally like as cheesy in 80s as it is and low budget, it definitely has kind of like a feel to it.
Mhm.
And oh, here we go. See, here you go, and she's asleep. But yeah, I listened to Dream Warriors, the soundtrack to that yesterday, and it's not nearly as good on its own. I was like, well, I turned it off. This one I listen to every
Yeah,
year.
okay.
Oh,
This
look at
is the
that.
ridiculous part. If you saw all this happening, what would you be doing right now?
Trying to get the fuck out of the room.
Exactly. This dude just sits there like, "What is going on? This is very strange."
Well, you're also kind of in a panic. See, this is what I'm talking about. You watch this thing like, "How would I react to this?" Instead of, "Oh, that's awesome, dude. She's up in the air getting carved to pieces." So, fun fact, they had to remove some of the blood from the scene to get it past the ratings board because they had a huge, like, pile of blood in the bed that just splashed everywhere when she landed, and they had to cut it out because they said it was too much.
Good thing things have improved since then because it would never have been made into a movie otherwise.
Yes. And by the way, since you're not into, like, since you're always looking for stuff like that and trying to find things like that and saying, "Oh, how would I react in this situation?" Don't watch any of the Hatchet movies. You will not appreciate how glorious they are.
All right, so that guy is clearly about like 28 years old.
Steph and I say the same thing. Every in these '80s movies, these guys are like, "Yeah, I'm in high school." Like, dude, you look like you're freaking 60. What the hell?
The sheriff's like 35.
Exactly. Marge, nice name.
I'm amazed we were ever made as people or anybody. When people
Right.
look like that trying to have babies, come on now.
Shane O'Mac says, "Hatchet movies are great old school slasher style." Yeah, Shane, I just watched the first 2, and I'm in the middle of the 3rd one, and I just love it. It's so just egregiously gory and stupid. It's amazing.
All right, rank them. You've got Jamie Lee Curtis, Heather Langenkamp, and I'm blanking on the third one. But scream queens of the classic horror franchises. Who's your top?
Oh, it's gonna be Heather Langenkamp, just 'cause I think the Nancy character's cool.
Okay. Oh, so you'd put her over Lori from Halloween, huh?
Yeah, I mean, they're both super tough and everything, but I think I prefer Heather Langenkamp.
Wait a minute. Is that just Donald Trump with a mullet?
That's Donald Trump 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think we just found Donald Trump's hairstylist.
There it is. Like how the mom is already pouring vodka in the cup at, like, 8 o'clock in the morning. That's one of the things that took me a while to realize. Like, you find out late in the movie she's, like, an alcoholic, but I kn it took me several viewings to realize, like, oh, she's tying one on it, like, before she even goes to work.
That's the stuff that goes over our head as kids, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you remember watching Ghostbusters and realizing that Ray Stantz you know, got a blowy from a ghost?
Yep. That's
I
another
mean, I
one.
didn't notice that until I rewatched it as a grown up.
You know what I think though? Like, I bet as kids we probably noticed it and we're just like, it was normal back then. Like, things were so much more loose. Like, now, if we see
True.
somebody drinking at, like, 9 in the morning, you're like, "Jesus Christ, don't you have to go to a job?" But back in the '80s, people were like, "Yeah, fuck it, I'll knock one back before I head out for the
Right.
office." Joseph Wren says, "What about Janet Leigh, the original Scream Queen?" Ah, not for me, man. I prefer Heather Langenkamp, like Nancy, and I prefer Laurie.
I'm gonna need some context for that one. My horror movie knowledge does not go as deep as the host of the Fright Lab.
That's Psycho.
Okay,
She's the original, basically.
man, Michael Jackson's got range.
See, like, there's so much, like, I don't know, like, it something about this movie to me has always felt like it could happen. I don't know what it is. And the other ones,
He's
start getting
dead.
into
Oh, sorry.
yeah, they don't bother telling the
Switchblade.
cops. Yeah.
I feel like this is probably why every kid gets bused to school now or driven to school. Oh my god, it's the mom from Detroit Rock City
Oh, yeah. Dude, she's in tons of the New Line
and
Cinema movies.
smokes the dope,
Smokes the dope.
the devil's music.
Now you wanna reach out and touch evil in the flesh. There's one we should do a watch along on.
Oh god, that's a great movie.
Yeah. But yeah, so the reason that she's in all these New Line Cinema movies is because, like, the owner, president, whatever, the main guy of New Line Cinema is Robert Shea, and that's his sister.
Oh
So
man,
she
okay.
yeah, so
So it's like Clint Howard showing up in every one of Ron Howard's
yes.
movies. Yeah.
Yeah. But then oh, yeah, this is cool too.
By the way, that guy in front of Nancy here is clearly like 45 years old. Like, these are supposed to pass as high schoolers, really?
So
Now,
that's
is this
also not
just
no go ahead.
sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's actually not an effect. That wasn't like they put a body bag looking thing in front of her. Like, they actually zipped her up in a bag, and
Oh,
she
I
said
just
she
watched that on the latest AEW pay-per-view. Yeah, so that's fine. I'm not kidding. They actually like put a plastic bag over a dude's head after he had just wrestled a 60-minute match and he was like huffing and dying. It was ridiculous.
of course. Look at Shane O'Mac. You trivia nerd. Shane, I told you I watched that documentary several times. There's some great stuff in there, man. Screw your hall pass. No running in the halls.
Just go upstairs, interrupt that kid who's reading the damn book about the dragon and, Fantasia and everything.
It's funny because, like, the walls in our junior high were painted this color, so it really hit home to me late years later. I was like, "God, this feels like center." There it is, the famous line,
Why does she
"Screw
have
your
a
pass."
nosebleed? Oh, because this is a dream. Never mind. Duh.
This is so good. See, it just has, like, that creepy vibe,
Mm-hmm.
and because it's, like,
No
in the dream where
students allowed.
yeah. It's like you don't know what's in a dream and what isn't. So, I mean, there's always that little bit of disbelief as you go through the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So it kinda
Quick
opens
time
up
check for the watch along, by the way. What's the timestamp right now?
mine is at 26 minutes and 18 seconds.
Well, since I'm watching it on Max, I get the opposite. I get time remaining. Do you have
Okay.
that?
My time remaining is 1 hour, 4 minutes, and 43 seconds.
Okay, cool.
Shane O'Mac, we are so old. You said junior high. That's what it was always called for me, man. But then again, also, Shano, in Strongsville, our high school was never I think it is now, but back when we were growing up, it was 10th, 11th, and 12th. So ninth was still quote unquote middle school or junior high. It was 7, 8, 9, and 10, 11, 12.
Okay, this is a dumb thing to say, like, gives credibility, but
Look at that.
how many fingers does he have in his left hand now, by the way? Because I want to know if they track him cutting off 2 of his fingers on his left hand.
No, of course not. I mean, it's in a dream, so he
Well,
goes in
yeah,
and
but
out.
I mean, that's the whole thing is they had a shared dream in the first place. So I wonder if like he's the same Freddy with the same, damage, so to speak, in every dream now.
You would assume not.
Speaking of things that, I mean, it doesn't matter because the movie's awesome, but what is all this crap underneath the high school?
Yeah, right.
Oh, we
Well,
we uh we offer steel forging 101 as an optional elective for the seniors.
yeah.
Gee, it's almost like she went back to school the day after watching a brutal murder.
Well, back in the 80s, that was the thing.
Dude, how 80s is that? Yeah, like, oh, your BFF died in your house last night? All right, see you in homeroom.
Yeah. Get your ass on the bus. You got a test.
Okay, see, that is what makes this franchise different and special. Like, that's a joke. That's a legit joke in the middle of a horror movie.
Like I say, these movies have personality. It's not just people running around just gutting each other, which is fine with
Yeah.
me. I've said it many times. I watch for gore and just how violent the deaths can be. But this one
Mhm.
just, it's got personality to it and everything. It's just something different than the others.
You'll need a hall pass.
Yeah.
Like,
Boom-tsh.
I don't know why, but I immediately wanted that guy to be Cleavon Little.
That's a total
Like, you
Family
wanted
Guy
that to be
joke.
Sheriff Bart too, right?
No, I've never thought of that before. But that's because I'm not watching it the same way you are.
Why is everyone so sweaty?
He's nervous. Also, he's wearing leather,
Yeah.
and he was on drugs while he was doing this. I don't know if, like, is high during this
Okay.
scene, but
Where are
he
you
said
getting all
that
this trivia from, dude? If there's a documentary about this, I want to know about it.
I already mentioned it to you. It's that, Never Sleep Again. The guy said that he thinks his performance could have been better because he was, he had a problem at this time.
He's just a method actor. That's all.
Yeah.
Method one, the Method One Clinic.
Well played.
It's actually an Arrested Development joke. I didn't write that one. Okay. Joe makes a good point. This movie isn't filled with tropes. It invented the tropes.
Yeah,
Very
that's
true. Very true.
yeah. He says the Texas Chainsaw Massacre inspired many films and was borrowed from vigorously until this film came along and stole the torch of the standard of horror. I have never seen the original Texas Chainsaw, and you know why?
Because the remake with Jessica Biel is just amazing, and why bother?
I love that movie. Yes, and the beginning is awesome too. The second one because the deaths are just so unbelievably just ooh, man.
Dude, you were the one
Uh,
that turned me on to that remake with Jessica Biel, and I mean that first kill
with
in
the
the van.
it's so great, man. The camera goes through the exit wound. Oh, I love that.
Oh, so
I was
good.
in the theater and I tried not to be too loud in the theater, if at all. But when that happened, I went, "Oh, yes." It
Okay,
was
so
so
I
good.
remember seeing this scene as a kid. I must have been on TV because we didn't, like I said, again, didn't rent horror movies. I've always been kind of scared of water in general,
Right.
but this, like, I never wanted to go in a bathtub full of suds on the top.
Oh shit, mom's coming.
Who's Pete?
Yeah. Yeah. I've heated up some more milk for you. I'll try not to dump any of my vodka in it.
That's a good question, though. Have you ever had warm milk?
Never. It sounds
Has
way too disgusting.
Right, has anyone ever wanted warm milk?
Yeah. Vomiting would not put me to sleep. It's
Right.
just
Oh, she's like, "I won't fall asleep." I'm sleeping.
yeah, and I'm asleep.
Okay, how we technically saw no nudity, but come on, that was way too much side boob for my quick Google search to not mention that.
I don't think side boob counts.
That's my side boob.
Damn it, you beat me to it. I like how the mom's a criminal enough to know how to hack the lock with a coat hanger
Where the hell did she get the coat hanger?
that quickly, and it's all yeah, like disassembled.
Maybe it's just because 'cause I'm sober-ish, but if
Ish.
my kid was drowning in the tub, I think I'd just kick the door in, right?
Yeah. Maybe she doesn't have homeowners insurance.
I feel like this
She
would be a great remake to do as a comedy. Just
MST,
instead of, like, the subtle alcoholism, just make her completely fall down drunk.
the whole movie.
"Hold on, baby, hold on, sir. I
Yeah.
wanna get the coat hanger and I'll be right back."
And then it keeps flashing to the mom and then back to her in the tub. And then when she finally bursts open through the door, the mom, she's in a closet instead of the bathroom. She just totally unlocked the wrong the wrong door,
Right?
and she's all sauced.
Or, like, she passes out drunk, Freddie hops in her dreams, and he's like, "Yeesh, never mind, you're being tortured enough. I'm sorry, I'm gonna go
Yeah.
elsewhere."
I'll find some new victims. Shane O'Mac says the reason this one is so scary is because you couldn't escape him. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like there's like more stakes there. It's not just somebody walking around killing people. And granted, Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees have something somewhat supernatural about them. They're kind of like indestructible. But when you're talking about within your dreams, it's like, how do you fight something like that? And by the way, back to my point, real quick. The reason I've not watched the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre is I heard that there's like zero blood in it. And to me, I'm like, well, how is that scary then?
And how the hell do you
So
kill someone with a chainsaw if you're not gonna have blood? Is
yeah.
he just going around and, like, the way they use, like, sledgehammers in WWE where it becomes like a an instrument you throw at someone instead of, like, swinging like a hammer? It's like, "I have a
He
chainsaw. Bonk on the head with you." Like,
yeah,
"What?"
he concusses them.
Yeah. The Texas Chainsaw CTE.
Right.
Starring Junior Seau. Oh, sorry.
Dude.
Starring Chris Benoit?
All right. The views of the Nerfherder Council do not necessarily reflect those of the Virtual
The
Cantina
views of the
Network.
Nerfherder Council.
Yeah. I'm sorry, the views of AJ. The jokes of AJ. Shane says lots of the early Friday the 13th kills were done off screen because of budget. Yep, that's true. And also tons of stuff throughout the history of that franchise was removed, like blood and more gory kills by the movie rating association. They castrated that franchise.
Mhm. Hey, in the documentary, does it say how long it took to film this?
It wasn't like a crazy long time.
It's a weird thing to track, but Nancy's got what is obviously a massive zit forming on her forehead.
What the
And it's in most of the scenes. So either like they tracked that and used makeup or they shot it in like a couple of days. I was going to say that's actually a point in his favor because teenagers have acne. So it's actually more realistic that she's got bad skin.
the things you notice when you're supposed to be watching a movie.
This is why there are two of us on the show.
Yeah, true.
Now there are two of them.
Now there are two of them.
That's a bad impression of a bad impression.
Impression, exactly.
Why does no one put their shoes on when they're walking outside? Again, no shoes.
It was the 80s, dude. Uh-oh, sneeze. Excuse me. That one came on too quickly for me to mute my microphone.
I didn't hear it.
Shane O'Mac. That's not a zit. It's her third eye. Gave her superior ability fighting Freddy.
I mean, the damn thing's casting a shadow. How can you not see that?
Again, I'm engrossed in the movie.
I mean, it's literally a Pantera song on their 5th album.
Oh, shut up.
Hey, can you do me a favor?
What?
Can you somehow find a musical link between Pantera and Dream Theater and then do a show about Pantera on Talking Into Infinity? And then I'll just come on and gush about Pantera?
You mean like we've already done deep dives into Cowboys from Hell and Vulgar Display of Power?
Oh, I don't listen to your show. It's pretty much garbage.
Thanks for the plug, brah.
If you like nerd music, tune into Talking Into Infinity. By the way, why don't you ever plug your other show on this show?
I forget, and also I'm not a promotions whore, unfortunately. Oh, this is so cool. Badass.
That's a hell of an effect, actually.
Yeah.
That's T1000 before T1000.
Yep. The hell with this
By the
gross
way,
ass
this is
shit.
total non sequitur, but I just want to say I'm like super proud of my friend Mandy. She is in the Tampa area getting hit by Hurricane Milton right now and sending me pictures of a literal like sandbag dam that she built in front of her house that's holding right now.
Oh, God. Well, I hope it stays. That's some scary shit. It's so cool.
Dude, the 80s synth is so great as a backtrack.
It's
for this.
awesome. It just adds to the cheesiness.
Apparently, only when you're running outside, though. Oh, I remember this.
Uh,
I actually have had dreams like this since then.
You see
Like
that
ideas
mask?
of like over. Yeah,
Oh,
that
there we
was
go.
what?
That's the best. I love that. Because you're like, is that really a bad special effect? Like, no, no, no.
But I've actually had dreams of like over upholstered stairs when they felt like too thickly carpeted.
Yep. I
And
have
I thought
dreams
of
all
that
the time where
scene.
I'm trying, dude. I've had dreams all the time where I'm trying to run, and it's like my legs weigh a gajillion pounds, and it's not even like weight. It just feels like I'm partially crippled and I can't barely move them.
By the way, you know how dangerous this movie was to make? Like that scene of him jumping through the mirror, that was very clearly like a real mirror. That was
Right.
not sugar glass or anything that's safe. It was just like, no,
Well,
we're
the
just gonna
glove had
we're
actual
just gonna throw
blades in it.
Stuntman through an actual mirror and hope that no shards end up in the actress's face.
I mean, it's got to be like the sugar glass, but
No, that
I
thing
mean,
broke off in solid shards, dude. That didn't, you know, crumble into bits like tempered glass does.
well, there's got to be a way that they can make it do that.
Dude, you've watched enough documentaries to hear how many times they just did stuff and it was like Road Warrior. God, people got damn near killed on that set because no one cared. Run, Jack Sparrow, run.
Yeah. Is there any rum out
Oh, I
here?
love. Got to go find the Black Pearl.
especially some vodka.
Sorry, I just can't shake the visual of if Trump was a woman. And again, this is not a political statement. I just think there's a physical resemblance.
Right.
Boy, she runs way better in real life than her dream.
Isn't that how it works?
Yeah.
It's so cool, man. See, that's the thing is that like the deaths also, like Joseph Friend nailed it. Like, it invented the tropes.
Mhm.
Like, but I mean, the deaths are so inventive, because you've got kind of like a blank canvas. I mean, this had never been done before. And so you could do anything. Oh, it's in nightmares. So, it's not real. You can do anything.
We're gonna assume, by the way, that that was done with reversing the photography, right?
100% correct.
Love this as a death, but also very easy to not die from.
Well, you did hear his neck crack.
Okay, yeah, if your neck breaks, that's a problem. But it's just a matter of like, I got hanged. Like you very clearly like had a handle on the thing. You could have supported your own weight for at least a little bit.
See, the things you're watching for.
But you said he was on drugs, so
Exactly. Billy Judd says, "Hey guys, what's up, Billy Judd? Good to see you, man." AJ.
this whole thing, okay, this movie is great, but it also feels like they had about 5 hours of story that they smashed down, right? Like nothing gets a chance to breathe. Like him.
Jesus. Is that Don Dockin?
Man, mm, sobering
Don't
words from our 21-year-old priest.
Can you believe, I mean, just watching this, and last year we did the episode about the remake. This Oh my god, that remake is so bad.
Like at least in this one, there are good people.
Yeah.
Everybody who was being hunted in that one, even the kids are like, I'm not on anybody's side here. They're all
Yeah.
terrible.
Yep. I don't know, like, if you're looking at remakes, the Halloween the Rob Zombie Halloween to me is my favorite. I think the Friday the 13th remake is actually pretty decent because that first one's pretty simplistic, so there's not a lot there, the original anyway,
Mhm.
because it was super low budget and, it was cool, but I think, you could play with it a little bit, but god, the remake of this is just terrible.
Oh,
I
that's a
just
good fix right there. See, they just put like one of the diodes like right over her zit. I'm tracking that thing.
what's
That's the
wrong with you?
Hurricane Milton of this film.
So
That's going to
wrong.
make no sense if anybody's watching this on a replay.
Yeah. The hurricane, what? Yeah, I just don't if you were to watch this and then immediately watch the remake after it, I don't know how anybody could enjoy that other one. I will never forget coming out of the theater with our buddy Tony, who's like a huge, huge fan of this franchise.
Wait, you mean
And it
Spikes
no, not Spikes, Tony Castillo.
Castillo? Okay.
Yeah. And he was like, "Oh, that was awesome." And I'm like, are you out of your goddamn mind?"
Oh,
Like, I'm
that's
not
when you kicked him out of the band. Okay, got it.
no, no. But yeah, I mean, like, dude, like, I'm not nearly as big of a fan of the
Ooh.
franchise as he is. And I was
Better
like,
80s
yeah,
throw, Paul Burke or this sleep guy?
Paul Burke. What are they talking about? You talking about Paul Reiser?
Paul Reiser, sorry.
There
Wasn't
you
his
go.
name Burke in the movie?
Yes, in Aliens, he was Burke.
Ah,
But
see,
okay,
sorry, I'm mixing
that's
stuff up.
that's okay. I knew what you were talking about. Uh, that's a good question.
Speaking of Paul's, though, I do have an idea for a future show topic. Can we just
Okay.
do we want to smash cut all the movies of Paul Verhoeven?
Oh, dude, I'm still I have yet to finish that RoboDoc,
I mean,
but
the
oh
Holy
my god,
Trinity, right? You got RoboCop, Total Recall, and
are you talking about
one.
Showgirls
No.
or Running Man?
Yes, Running Man.
Well, he is famous for
Oh,
Showgirls,
girls!
so
Wow, we definitely can't frame share on that one.
yeah. I do believe me. I will talk RoboCop, Total Recall, and Running Man anytime you want. See, like I think that's why this one and the third one are like the best because even though Dream Warriors is the third in the series, it kind of it gets back to like taking it seriously. You know, like I mean, the kills are a little cheesier in that one. You know, you've got "Welcome to Prime Time, bitch." You know, and you've got they're kind of more stylistic and creative, but you know, it takes it more seriously. Whereas the second one, you know, that one gets just silly, and you know, from four on forward, it just becomes a almost like cartoonish. You know what I mean? So
Oh,
I
she's Ray Skywalker.
this kind of is like foreshadowing what happens in the third one.
So she's Ray
Ray
Skywalker. She
Skywalker,
can you
yeah,
can force transfer things. And her hair's turning gray.
right.
That's not a Ray
Oh, Joe,
Skywalker thing.
Joe, shut up. He says Running Man is a terrible film, and I love it.
Wait a minute. Wait a
It
minute.
actually deserves a remake, I think. Running Man
Wait
is
a minute.
amazing.
Hold on a second. In the last scene, did she not have gray hair at the front of her head?
A little streak.
Oh, she still
She,
got it. Okay. It wasn't there in the last shot a little bit, but
yeah.
it wasn't as obvious, but it's still there. Okay.
Quit drinking that coffee. Have some of this vodka.
Yeah. Dude, she's kind of terrifying.
What, the mom or
Like
Nancy?
Nancy, like she's going crazy, so I get it. But she's not blinking. Her eye contact is, like, laser focused. I would be
Well,
terrified if someone was looking at me like that.
don't forget she's barely slept. I mean, this is a whole
Well, no,
thing
that's
about,
what I
"Hey,
mean, it's
I'm
like,
not
she's doing a great
sleeping."
job. We talk about, like, how low rent this movie is, but, I mean, credit Nancy here, like, she's acting her ass off.
Yeah? Oh! So see, mom didn't slap her because she mouthed off to her. She slapped her because mom thought she was gonna get into her stash.
Right.
Well, there goes 20 bucks.
Yeah, you're right, it was 20 bucks. I mean, it's not like
Yeah.
she's drinking Grey Goose or something.
Well, no, it's probably high test back in the '80s for 20 bucks.
Actually, yeah, 20 $80 is like, what,
Yeah.
80 to 20 $24?
That's some serious shit.
This
But
scene
yeah,
brought to you by Epcot Center. Um,
yeah.
honestly, where the hell do they live? I wanna live there. I want rivers and, like, palm trees and stuff. I mean, not right now because there's hurricanes there, but
Jesus, I'm like, "Is he really gonna go there again?" My god.
I mean, where else can you piss yourself on a living room floor, John? Am I right?
Still the only time I've ever done that. Probably will always be the only time I've ever done it.
This is more of a Friday show, sorry.
Yeah, pretty much. See, that's one thing I will say, like, they basically just kind of explain how to defeat him, and they kinda gloss over to the point you don't even realize it until you've seen
Wow,
the
this is
movie,
where Home
you
Alone
know?
came from.
Yeah. But, yeah, he just says, like, yeah, you basically just, take away all the energy he gives you, like, turn your back on him, basically, and it's like
Mhm,
it just seems like it's in passing, but after you've seen the movie and know what happens, you're like, "Holy shit, he just, you know, completely explained how to defeat Freddy," and it just is
mhm.
completely glossed over. I always thought that was really intelligent.
Man, she runs a lot.
Sometimes fast, sometimes slow.
Yeah, and has no regard for botany.
That was her mom that did that.
Can you imagine if we ever referred to our mom as mother?
Yeah. "Mother, what's with the bars?" "Oh, I don't go there, I get fucked up at home." "No, no, 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 on that window." "Oh, on the windows." "Oh."
She's at least a productive drunk.
It's just
I mean, that's a hell of a DIY project for a single day.
functional alcoholic.
She went to
That's
Builder Square.
that's why the lattice is still in the front yard. She actually just got too sauced and just stopped right before she, like, actually took away, like, the detritus. She was like she's like,
What a
"Ah,
great
fuck it."
word.
Yeah. Look at Joe in the chat. You asked, "Where the hell do they live?" And he answered, "They live on Elm Street." Oh, I love obvious humor.
I love 80s movies for just the smoke anywhere policy.
Yeah. Go on, mother. Hold on, let me pull a slug off here. This is tough to tell.
Right.
See, this is another thing about this movie. Is like when they explain how he was created, like it's actually like you'd be like, okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the double swerve in the 2010 remake is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Like, wait a minute. So the people are awful too.
Yeah.
So everybody's a piece of shit in that movie. I'm
Yeah.
like, you can all die. That's fine.
Yeah. The 80s crop top t-shirt.
For men.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people watching this movie now under the age of like 30 are like, what's that thing hanging off the phone?
Yeah, right. What the hell? What's this? Why is that thing so big?
Right.
How do you text off of that?
Okay, so if you're Freddy at this point in the movie, who are you killing first?
Uh I I would actually go after Nancy first. I would go after whoever believes in me the most, because they're the most difficult target. So take out your biggest challenger, and then the rest is pretty much like cake.
See, I think I would go the opposite route for that exact same reason.
Yeah, with a baseball bat.
You're the jock. You're wearing the midriff.
Yeah, the midriff.
Don't fall asleep.
Glenn. Dude, fall asleep. Glenn. That's exactly what
Sorry. I'm better now.
Glenn, your bed is a blender.
Your bed, a blender is. See, this is another thing that totally dates the movie. This scene makes me think of the very special episode of Saved by the Bell.
Oh God,
When
yeah.
Jesse,
I'm so excited.
dude, I think the caffeine in those pills that she was doing is probably like half of a single monster, and I've had 2 of those today. Like,
Are you ready to jump around singing and dancing and start crying?
right?
Like Carp. So are you guys seriously doing Yoda on A Nightmare on Elm Street? Yes, Carp. Yes, we are. That is exactly what we were doing. We paraphrase all facets of nerd culture on the show. You ought to know this about me by now. All right, time check. So I have 29 minutes exactly remaining.
Okay, by the way,
28 minutes
Johnny Depp's mom looks just like the drunk mom, but put together.
They're twins. See, that's how she should have actually died. Freddy's got her in the dreams, and he's just standing there, just like, twiddling his thumbs, and she's like, "Why aren't you attacking me?" And he's like, "See how many of those goddamn pills you took?" And all of a sudden she's like, kills over from a heart attack.
Waiting.
Yeah. I'm just
You
waiting.
have done that to yourself.
You have done that yourself. Exactly. Carp. Well, that's just dumb. Like, well, look, dude, that's what we do on our show.
I love that
All
she
right.
stashed an entire plugged-in coffee maker under
Yeah,
her bed with coffee in it already.
of
She didn't even have
course.
to fucking brew it. And her mom is too drunk to be like, do I smell an entire pot of coffee right now?
Her mom ain't smelling nothing. Carp says, here's what I was wondered. Like, no person has the amount of blood that was splurged from the bed in that one scene. Well, Brian, like I said earlier, they actually had to cut out a huge puddle that she fell in. It like exploded out of the bed in that scene because the ratings association wouldn't allow it. So they had to cut it down
Now
to what
seems
it
like a
was.
good time to remind the audience that we go live at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every other Wednesday on the Virtual Cantina Network and on our own personal YouTube channel.
Yes.
Not at 9 p.m.
Who the hell cares? People could tune in whenever the hell they want. Joseph Wren says A Nightmare on Dagobah. Yes.
Canistros. That's the $1.50 can of the month. The bar across the street from me.
The music here is awesome. I like the parts where in the soundtrack where it gets really dark.
It's very of its time, but still good.
Yes.
Members only jacket. Nice.
Oh, mom busting into the stash in the closet again. Does she have ice in there? Because that one looks frosted too. Looks like it came straight out of the freezer. About that. Nancy's got a coffee machine under her bed, and mom's got a freezer in the closet for her booze.
And, you know, poor old dad's just got like a 12-pack of Coke.
That's because mom's drinking up all the booze.
I'm sorry, it would be Pepsi. It's the choice of a new generation.
All right, time check. We are at 25 minutes and 45 seconds left in the movie. See, Carp knows. He says, what if Rob Zombie remade A Nightmare on Elm Street gooder? You know, like he did Halloween in 2007. See, Carp, I knew there's a reason I love you. I'm a huge fan of the Halloween remakes. Love those. I will go to bat for those all day, every day.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
This guy looks like Tattoo.
Man. I don't think the original Halloween is that good.
I understand why it was popular back then, because it was definitely suspenseful. But
as the first of its kind, yes.
Yeah.
But by the way, like timeless, like people say it is.
No, well, I mean, I think it's timeless because of the originality. You know, I think when something breaks ground like that, it earns that status. But by the way, I was going to say, like, the dad, Glenn's dad, looks like Tattoo from Love Boat or no, Fantasy Island. If he was like a full size person and not not a little person.
Plus that he's wearing the Triforce around his neck, so I think he's safe.
Yeah. She broke the phone. Now nobody can call her. Nancy's going for the stash.
Don't pick it up. It's $1.99 a minute.
Yeah, it's the Freddy Krueger hotline. That love it. That's awesome.
Oh, you bad boys.
Call her up on the spank line.
By the way, one of my every girl of her age wanted a phone like that growing up.
No, it was the clear one with all like the neon plastic in there and everything, and all the lights.
Oh, I just mean the one that had the tongue.
Locked. You are gonna get some sleep tonight if it kills me. I know I'm gonna get some sleep. I'm gonna need some fucking Taco Bell in the morning.
I was dreaming about a knight. Last name Osis, I think. Sir Osis.
Oh, this rules. Here's some blood for you, Carp.
It never would have happened in a hammock.
That's true.
How does she know that Glenn just died?
Because I think the assumption is that, like, Freddie was calling her from his house.
Okay, I love everything
Ah!
going on here, but like, is the ceiling absorbing the blood?
She was screaming because she didn't know how she was gonna get it all out of the carpets.
Right. She's like, magic erasers haven't been invented yet.
I don't have enough Mr. Clean for this shit. Nancy's mom walks over with the vodka. You can clean it up with this. Get the fuck out of here. Go back over to your own house. So, fun fact. So, Tina's death was recorded, filmed in a revolving room, and they reused the revolving room for that scene right there.
Is that why the
And
blood was flowing sideways instead of upwards in some of those shots at the end?
that was because they didn't take into account properly the weight of the liquid, the blood, and the room started tilting, and it almost electrocuted a few people because there was guy like the grips and stuff like that were on the outside of the thing. The water got electrocuted from passing over all of like the lamps and everything, so they had to jump the hell out of the way or else get electrocuted.
See, we can laugh about that now, but go away, Siri. I got too many people listening to me right now, and none of them are human. But that's what I'm talking about. Like some of the stuff, like these movie making techniques, you're like, these were extremely dangerous, but no one cared.
Well, of course not.
You're like, we're just gonna do it and hope no one dies, I guess. I don't
Yeah.
know.
What's the pay? $20 a day. All right.
That's worth my life.
Yeah. Brian Carpenter. Carp says that's the scene I was thinking about. Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe Glenn was an extremely bloody guy, Carp. You never know.
So I'm confused. So that last scene stays in the movie, but the original death scene
I have
got
always
cut
thought the
down
same
for
thing.
blood content.
I have always wondered the same thing. I don't know what the explanation is there.
By the way, if we ever, devolved into making listicle videos, I would want to make a video about movie winners who are really losers. Because it feels like this movie in particular, and most horror movies, like, yeah, I survived the horror movie. You are so messed up as a person. You are just wrecked forever.
See, again, you're taking it so damn literally. I think they come out just fine.
By the way, this is totally Home Alone, but better.
I was gonna say, please don't compare this to Home Alone. What you do with that butter rum lifesaver, man? And why can't I
I know.
find
Why
butter
aren't
rum
you
lifesavers
eating the
anymore?
lifesaver? That's
Yeah.
the whole trap right there. Just lay out the lifesavers. He's going to be stuck on the lifesavers.
Freddie's like, I'm your boyfriend now that butter rum.
Yeah.
And why can't you find those anymore? Those things are delicious, and I can't find them anywhere. That really
I haven't
pisses me
tried, but
off.
now I'm sad. Thank you. But yeah, this is all Looney Tunes level shit, right?
See, you were talking about us doing a remake and but making it a comedy. Would be awesome as if the mom stumbles in drunk after she sets up like 18 of these traps and just sets the first one off, and then it's just this like continual just one after the other of her just
Yeah.
going off, her stumbling into every one of them. And Nancy's like, son of a bitch. What does the coroner have to say? Cause of death? Liquefaction, if that's the
What does
word.
the joining of two walls have to say? I'm not
Yeah.
sure, sir.
Carp, when I asked about why you can't find butter rum lifesavers now, he says Werther's Originals. That's why. Two different things, both excellent.
Yeah, Carp, if you've ever been to the Food and Wine Festival at Epcot, or even maybe it exists outside of that, but they have a Werther's stand where like everything is made of Werther's, like Werther's popcorn and everything else. And oh my
Wer-
God.
Werther's popcorn is proof that God loves us and wants us to be happy.
Yeah, imagine it made fresh. Like the popcorn is popped and then it's just swimming in a sea of Werther's, and then they hand you a big sticky bag of it.
Yes.
Amazing.
See, Nancy's like, I love you because she knows mom's about to bite it.
Mhm.
She's about acute alcohol poisoning. Although, as much as we're laughing about her like getting smashed, like Werther's, Mikey, fuck you. Mikey says Werther's are garbage. The hell's wrong with you? You are high. Those things are awesome.
Man.
Yeah, but I think it is
You
I think it is kind of interesting how like they use the alcohol in the movie as kind of like a she gets progressively more and more into the bottle, more and more drunk to kind of like enhance the seriousness of the situation. How it keeps getting worse and worse. So at least that part of it's pretty cool. So as much as we're laughing about it.
It is a weird B plot, right? To track like how drunk does the mom get as the circumstances get more and more dire.
Yeah. Carp says, well, now I'm a grandfather. And what else would I give my grandson other than Werther's drenched popcorn? It's super worth it, Carp. Believe me. Give Wesson like 3 kernels and you eat the rest.
By the way, please tell me that when you become a grandfather for a second time, their name is going to be Smith.
That depends. I don't know if that'll happen.
Well, if Grandpa has anything to say about it,
Oh no, it'll be
complete the punchline. You must.
well, it'll be a different father, and the current grandson's father is not the most popular person in that household. Let's just put it that way.
No details required. I just want someone to complete the punchline as Smith and Wesson.
I told him he should name the next one Mazzola instead of making the gun thing. Do it with make it cooking oil. Wesson and Mazzola.
Okay, that works too. Or just Chris. I mean, it's not Crisco, but it's close enough.
All right, what am I? Okay, this is okay. So Mikey's saying you're a
Dogs
creepy
playing
old man.
poker.
Gotta have that. And Carp is saying, oh, and Mikey's saying only creepy old men hand out Werthers. And Carp is saying the commercial. You don't remember the dumb weird pedo commercial about Werthers? I no, I don't remember that. Maybe I was just probably too busy going, Werthers.
I think the only places Freddie can operate are outside or in basements.
So you're saying like he's wildly ineffective in dining rooms and closets?
Exactly. Just go to a park. You'll be fine. You'll be outdoors.
He did pretty good in a couple of bedrooms.
I think that actually kind of okay. Honestly, honest question. Like, is that supposed to heighten his whole like creeper kind of vibe?
Well, I mean, I don't think in the way that you're probably
I mean,
referencing, but
also
it is.
bedrooms are where you sleep. I get that part, but
Yeah, exactly. So I think what we've learned now from a question you had earlier is that, by the way, time check for anybody who wants to watch the end of the movie with us. We are at 13 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the film. Uh, so apparently that stuff you're saying, what is all this crap under the school? Like all this industrial stuff. Obviously, I think we now know, from what we're watching now, is that, once you go into the dream to fight Freddy, you're in your own environment, then you go down into his. AJ, I hear you. I hear you. A deaf man could hear you.
Yeah, right. But I thought
Oh,
his environment was the basement of the school.
no, it's like the abandoned boiler room.
Was that not in the school?
Joseph Wren says the next grandson can be named Shortening. His nickname can be Shorty. Mikey says basement's bad. Okay. And Carp says Freddie loved Werther's. Werther's equals pedos. Freddie was a pedo. Ta-da!
Oh,
Oh,
jeez.
okay. Freddie was a child murderer. He was a pedophile in the remake, the god awful remake. Carp, don't confuse the two. The remake is one of the most putrid pieces of shit ever put to celluloid.
Maybe we should do a show about overrated directors. I mean, we got two people to discuss immediately. We've got Michael Bay and J.J. Abrams.
Oh, that seems like low hanging fruit.
It's interesting that, like, I guess it's just for the audience because no one in the movie has actually commented on the fact that Nancy has like a gray streak in her hair now.
She had it before. After the Oh, you mean okay. Okay. Never mind. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like unless she's turning into Rogue from the X-Men.
No, she's Alex Skolnick from Testament.
Oh, there you go. That was okay. I get it. She didn't get her steps in today. Her Strava watch told her, get fucking moving.
Right.
Fucking
Ma,
roses. I like
yeah.
carnations.
Right. Ma, why didn't you finish this project? Damn you. That landing would have been a lot softer if it wasn't on lattice and thorns.
Oh, she has a Galaxy watch. That's what I always do. That's my face every time I have to look at this thing.
Right. See, I think a lot of the cuts in this movie, for being a low budget film, I think the cuts are really good. Like right there, you saw a
Mhm.
teeny bit of the lattice, but then all of a sudden it's gone. Like I think they did an excellent job editing this thing together.
Yeah, not to get like too between two ferns about it, but yeah, like it's a well-made movie. Low budget or not, like it's a good movie.
Yes. Carp says, "Remember the lady in Poltergeist whose hair was all gray streaked and shit after she saw the ghosts? Traumatic shit put streaks in things like underwear." Becky says, "Oh yeah, she was milfy."
I love how she
Oh
spent
my,
all this time setting up traps, but spent none of the time taking bars off of things so she could actually get out the house.
yeah. Dad's like, "What's going on over there, officer?" "Oh, nothing." "Was that my daughter freaking out?" "Ah, she'll be fine."
Yeah, that's just straight up fucking glass, dude. That's not stunt.
I wasn't aware.
Don't you love that part, by the way? Like falling over the stair, the railing was totally not part of the trap.
Right. See, right there, she blows him up with, like, gunpowder. They should just had him stand there and go, "Seriously, fire?
Right.
Seriously, bro? Look at me."
Wouldn't you think, based on his origins, by the way, that there's a bottle of stuff just there on the stairs?
That's mom's piss. She was too lazy to get up from drinking downstairs.
I was gonna say, like, anything fire should be like his worst enemy, right?
where's the Spaceballs quote? "Oh, no. Not again." So that's another cool factoid is that this whole shot is basically like a one take thing. So this guy, the stunt guy was burning this whole time.
I mean, yeah, like I said, like massive credit to anyone who does this because yeah, we can talk about how like it's clearly a mask over the guy's face, but there was a human being that was set on fire for that. As much as I think being a stuntman would be cool, I don't want to get set on fire.
No.
There's no such thing as being safely set on fire.
I agree. Look at Mikey. He's talking about the poltergeist woman. Her with the skeleton in the muddy pool was hot. And Carp said, "Ooh, yeah. Muddy pool hot milf was badass." Oh my gosh. We have some of the dumbest and best friends ever, man.
Mhm. Beige, the color of 1984.
Yes.
How did they not see a series of flaming footprints?
Again, maybe it's, you know, maybe it's in her dream. I think that's what it's meant to represent.
Also, once again, in terms of like making a movie this way, these actors are just like, yeah, I'm gonna step through piles of fire, like not stunt people, but actual actors. I
Dude,
want
how
to see
about
this.
this one?
Come on, bend into a middle finger. Bend into a middle finger.
That is the whole we don't have a budget. That is the that is the ultimate haunted house, bad haunted house effect.
But dude, that was a great transition though. You saw the body sinking into the mattress, and then it was like, nope, it's just a bed sheet.
Yep. That's one of those edits we were talking about. I would just like to say that I don't think the mother would have been killed this quickly, but Freddie was on fire when he jumped on her, and of course, she was combustible from all the alcohol. So she probably just went up like a
Right?
like a pile of dry leaves in the fall. Freddie jumps on, he's trying to kill her. All of a sudden, he realizes she's like just total conflagration. He just stands up. It's like, oh, all right, well, I guess my work is done here.
Quick reuse. I bet you that's the exact same thing they no, it's different. I was gonna say if it was just like a slight stretch, it's probably the same exact thing they used for the ceiling panel earlier.
That's such a cool creative ending, man.
Mhm. Did anyone ever actually dress like that? Like, in any era?
It's like they say it bottomed out when you can't remember. Well, I'd say it bottomed out.
You look at too.
Yeah, the other thing in that documentary is they said that they could not agree on an ending. Here comes the awesome dummy going through the window.
That is so cool.
This is awesome. That rules.
That's one of those ones where with like modern technology, I want to like go frame by frame, be like, how did a human body fit through that window?
Right? Stay up late. 9, 10, never sleep again. That is just a damn good movie.
Mm-hmm.
That is just a damn good movie, dude. As much as we laughed about parts of it, that is just like one of those. It's a classic. Like I say, I mean, it's like watch that back to back with the remake again. Like we said earlier, the remake is fucking terrible. I mean, they
I
just
feel like the subtitle for the
bastardized it.
remake should be "Nobody has fun."
Yeah, I mean,
Not
really,
enjoyable to watch, and no one in the movie's having a good time either. You can tell.
no. No, I mean, like, I can find something redeeming. Even, a lot of people don't like the remakes of any of those classics, you know? Even the Hellraiser remake, we had some issues with it. But I was like, "Okay, it's not as bad as I thought it could be. I can find some stuff I liked about it," you know? This
If you're
the
going to
remake of
abandon
this
the
one
charm
was
of the
nothing.
original, if you're going to abandon the charm of the original, you have to come up with something like else that's intriguing, right?
Yeah.
I feel like Hellraiser missed on that. That Pet Cemetery, whatever that Hulu did, I think it was just last year actually.
Well,
That one was no good.
Pet Sematary was released in theaters. And that one was terrible too, because again, that took away. I mean, it's hard to say charm, but it took away the. I mean, the 1990 version of that movie is legendary. People love it, and so there is a certain charm to it. There's the nostalgia factor, and that movie took that away, but also it killed the wrong kid. I mean, that's one of those things like we talked about. The Dark Tower and how they f with that. Like, why would you do that? I mean, that is like the main point of the film, of the story, is Gage getting killed. Instead, you kill the sister. Why would you do that? I would love to be in the writer's room for these things when these people are like, all right, we're gonna redo this, classic. What do you think we should do? What do you think we should do? And well, here's what I think we should do. Even though like it's world famous for killing the little kid, and that's where all the terror comes in because this poor infant toddler's just chasing a kite and he gets creamed by a gas truck. Let's just completely change that and let's kill the big sister instead. Like why would you do? As soon as I saw that in the theater, I was like, "Are you shitting me?" And I had read like pre-release reviews, like nothing like spoilerific, just stuff like coming out of like the you know like the pre-screenings with like critics and stuff. And they mentioned, oh, the surprise twist, the surprise twist. I'm like, who doesn't know the surprise twist? Like Gage gets run over, he throws him in the pet cemetery, and comes back as like a evil, little bastard. Oh no!
Mhm.
Then I get to that movie, and I was like, oh, that's the surprise twist. They completely shit all over one of Stephen King's greatest works. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, problems in general. I just don't understand, like, when you enter into conversations about, like, "Hey, let's remake this movie." The first question that I would have as a decision maker is, "Why?" Like,
Yeah.
what's gonna be different or better about this one instead of the one that's already existing? If you're just gonna make the same movie, there's no reason to. If you're gonna make a different movie and you're gonna change something up, be like, "Okay, so what's different, and why is that a good idea?"
Yeah. I
And all these things. Well, okay, so that this ties into our love of the Rob Zombie Halloween movies. I feel like that was different enough. Like what's different about the Rob Zombie Halloween versus the original Halloween? Um, it brings it up to modern sensibilities. It's like we took Michael Myers and made him scary for modern reasons.
Yeah.
Like he was just like a generic nobody who was damn near invincible in the first one, and in the modern one, you're like, no, he's a real person that you might live near, who absolutely could kill multitudes of people.
Yeah. Well, and
But
I
the
think
2010 Nightmare on Elm Street, I'm like, oh, so he's the same Freddy. He's just not as charismatic.
yeah. And it's not as and people have argued like, oh, him being a pedophile is worse than being a child murderer, but it's like why do you have to change it? Like, isn't it was child murderer not bad enough? I mean, like what is that? And the thing about the Rob Zombie Halloween movies that I don't think anybody talks about enough is that the thing that it does is like it keeps Michael Myers as like this, invincible killing machine.
Mhm,
Um but it explains his backstory. And a lot of people have said, well, we don't need that. It doesn't, there's no need for that. It's like, yeah, but you know what though? To me, it kind of was like, in the original movie, it's like, okay, well, he's a crazy person. He escaped a mental asylum. Okay. Makes sense. But this one, it's like, okay, this dude is like, he's like whacked out. So it kind of, they added to the mythos a little bit,
mhm.
which is, but then they kept the spirit of the original thing. So, he still escaped from mental institution, whatever. He's, going back for his sister, whatever the hell. But, again, he absolutely like was just as sadistic as they come. And you saw him descending into this mania, this silent mania, which I mean just adds so much to the character. So I thought that was a very interesting take. And Friday the 13th, I think, was kind of pointless. But Friday the third, the remake I'm talking about. Um, but Friday the 13th itself was basically, I mean, it was kind of the most pointless of them all because it was like he's just, this killer guy, he kills people. Okay. Um,
Mhm.
and I think the remake was just, hey, here's an updated version. We're just gonna make it gorier, and he's got an underground tunnel thing, you know. So other than that, there's really not much to it. But it's like, okay, well, I like the concept of Friday the 13th. I just want to see people getting hacked up. Okay. And it didn't change anything. Whereas, and the Hellraiser remake, we said had kind of, at least it got close to having that creepy vibe of the originals. But
Mhm.
Nightmare on Elm Street did nothing. Like you said, the characters weren't likable. Um, I mean, they Freddy did not have the personality. I mean, it was just bad all the way around. I mean, it is terrible.
Yeah, utterly pointless, actually. Like, let's say, for example, that thing was actually commercially successful. So you're going to make a second one of these. Where do you go?
Yeah.
What plot thread are you going to pick up from the first one that you're going to continue in the next one? And
Well, but I
there's
mean,
nowhere to go because
eh,
no one wants to see any of those people have a good time.
in a way, and we'll get to that in a quick second, but Billy Judd says an alternate ending, talking about this movie, has nothing bad happening. Just Nancy and her friends drive to school, and Marge doesn't get dragged to the door. They actually had more endings than that, Billy. They were actually arguing about several different things, and it was like,
Mhm.
Wes Craven wanted one, Bob Shea wanted another one, like so they had multiple options to choose from. So, but you are not incorrect. That is one of the potential endings. Yeah, back to where do you go? Talking about the remake, like where do you go for a second one? Um, I, 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 I get what you're saying, but I think also you could say that about this one, about any of these. It's like, okay, well, the super killer, okay, is dead. Now what happens? Oh, they came back. Like, so it's you can only like really repeat it. You can't really. I think again, like I was mentioning earlier, that's why Dream
Mhm.
Warriors is such an awesome movie because the second one, Freddy's Revenge gets kind of silly, and you're like, whoa, this doesn't have any of like the creepy factor of the first one, and Dream Warriors gets back to having somewhat of a creep factor. It does have, it's not nearly as scary as this one because you know what's coming and you know all about Freddy, but um, it has some of that, and it takes itself more seriously. And you know, it does kind of add a little bit to it. You know, the whole bastard son of 1,000 maniacs or whatever, and you know that whole thing. Have you
Mhm.
seen that one, by the way? Have you seen Nightmare 3?
Mm-mm. I've heard the song, so
Okay.
got it
See,
covered.
maybe we should do a watch along of that and just have it be like, oh no, you can't do it the first time. You hate watching movies the first time with people talking through it. So, damn. Okay. Well, we'll figure it out because that one is awesome. That
That's
one
a
is
good
very good.
WTF Friday or Saturday kind of thing. We'll find a weekend sometime soon, and we'll do that.
Okay. I would do that. That'd be
Yeah,
fun. So, all right. So
but
overall, now that you've seen this all the way through, at least twice, finally, what are your final thoughts here on the OG Nightmare on Elm Street?
given that there wasn't really a template for this kind of movie, like yeah, there've been other horror movies, but I mean now we're like 40 years on from this, so it's a little bit different. Like it's all been done, right? So it's way harder now to be inventive than it was back then. I think this movie still holds up. Maybe it's just
Yes.
because we're both of the generation that this stuff existed in. I would love to get like a 20-something-year-old's take on this and find out if it's still scary or if they're just like, wow, this is so bad.
Yeah.
But I think that's the problem with the 2010 remake is there's not a lot here that is so bad. You're like, yeah, we need to do this again. Like
Yeah.
this is so out of touch and so out of date that we need to update this. So I think the best thing I can say about this movie is that it is at this point, being 40 years on, it's almost half a century, if you want to phrase it that way.
Oh God. Yeah.
It's quote timeless, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, if you think of like 80s horror movies, this thing is just a staple of the genre. And it's not only a staple because it was made 40 years ago, and let's give it credit for being as old as it is, but it just does horror movie things well.
Yeah. Well, it's inventive, it's creative, and to this day, it's something that stands out as a very original idea that lasted. I mean,
Mhm.
you've got other horror franchises, modern ones like the Insidious has a whole bunch of movies, and what's the one with Annabelle in it? Like that's got that
Annabelle.
yeah, okay. Well, no. But Annabelle is the little doll in the basement of the one, and then it just keeps going. Like, you know what I mean? Annabelle's like
Oh,
an
right.
offshoot.
Yeah.
Um,
I've
so
actually fallen out of touch with the more modern franchises, so I don't know
I
the answer to that one.
I have two, so that's why I was asking. I don't know. Um, but I think Freddy was a character, and Freddy was like it was this huge franchise, but based on a character. Whereas the modern stuff like Paranormal Activity,
It's
for
actually
example,
just
it's
called Annabelle, by the way.
no. Okay, Annabelle is a doll in a creepy basement of a movie that was made years before Annabelle. It's like let's just call it new horror movie. Then there was new horror movie 2. In the house in new horror movie, there's a creepy doll and it's creepy doll. Then they have new horror movie 3, new horror movie 4, new horror movie 5. And the creepy doll is recurring, and all of a sudden they do an offshoot called Annabelle because the creepy doll is so creepy from all the new horror movies. So yeah, it's an offshoot. That much I know. And I think they have another offshoot now too. But um, in any case, the Nightmare on Elm Street thing was Freddy as a character, whereas stuff like Paranormal Activity and the stuff that you're looking up now is okay. It's scary, it's creepy, but it's
Mhm.
okay. Like Saw
Oh, The
is based
Conjuring.
Conjuring. There you go. The Conjuring. um, yeah, but I mean, like Saw is a good example, but Saw it's about the kills and everything. It's not as much about Jigsaw. Like Jigsaw's there, and you're like, okay, that's Jigsaw's kind of cool. I want to play a game. But you're 100% there for to see how they're going to grind bodies into hamburger for another 2 hours.
Yeah.
Whereas with Nightmare on Elm Street, yeah, you're waiting for the kills, but you're waiting to see Freddy. How's Freddy going to do it? Like he's this huge character and stuff like that, and it was the first of its kind, really, to really make a franchise off of someone with that much personality. Because again, Michael Myers, no personality. Jason Voorhees, no personality. Pinhead, just straight evil. Wasn't, there wasn't anything of it. But Freddy was like a total cartoon. Eventually got too cartoonish, but
Mhm.
so like, to your point, I mean, it is groundbreaking, and it does hold up, because I think it's this awesome blend of a character that, was very rare in horror, that actually has personality, along with a story that stands up, and it actually makes some modicum of sense. It's everybody's afraid of dreams and what can happen in your dreams and stuff like that. So, I think it makes total sense.
Did they touch on anything in the documentary about writing this with the idea of sequels in mind? Because if you're
Yeah,
talking about like a horror movie villain who's just like custom made for a franchise, this is kind of the start of that. Like he appears in your dreams, which means you can kill him all you want. Every time someone dreams, Freddy could be there.
yeah, no, um, yeah, one of the reasons that, Wes Craven didn't do the second one and subsequent ones, I think he finally came back for part it's not called Part 7, it's called New Nightmare, which is
Mhm.
really, really, I need to watch that all in one sitting, because that's like, you've only seen this one
It's
in
mad.
pieces, I've only seen that one in pieces. Yeah, exactly, which is a really, really cool idea. Um, but yeah, he didn't come back until that one, because he didn't think that it needed a sequel, and then also, like, he wasn't happy with, some of the ideas that other people were coming up with. But he pitched, I think it was for Dream Warriors, he pitched something, and they just weren't really sold on it. Um, and also he had, him and Bob Shea, who ran the studio, they kind of butted a lot of heads. So there's a lot of mention of that in there. But um, yeah, at that time they didn't know that they had a franchise on their hands. So it wasn't until about part 3 that they realized, is like, hey, let's, holy shit. So, again, for anybody interested, that documentary we keep referencing is called Never Sleep Again. It's about 4.5 hours long. It's on Amazon Prime, and it's about the making of all of the Nightmare on Elm Street films up through Freddy versus Jason. And it's just absolutely fascinating. Tons of great stuff in there. Highly, highly recommended. I've watched it a bunch of times. They get a ton of the original actors in there to talk about it. It goes movie by movie in chronological order. It's just really, really good. So, all right, man. Well, it looks like I think we're all tapped out for tonight.
So from
So,
old franchises to new, do you want to talk about what we're going to be talking about on October 23rd?
yes, October 23rd, we are going to be talking Terrifier. So we are going to go see. I'm at least going to go see. Hopefully you will too.
Of course, yeah.
Terrifier 3 comes out. Actually, the first showings are tomorrow night.
Mhm.
So that'll be coming out, and we'll be going and checking that out. And I'm looking forward to it, because Art the Clown has a certain personality, I suppose, but it's just a creepy personality. And I love the Terrifier films, because it's like the guy is purposely just eviscerating people for the sake
Mhm.
of, just look at this horrible gory kill I can do. Like, that's my jam, dude. That's my jam.
Yeah. Yeah, you talk about showing up just for the kills. Abso-freaking-lutely. I'd never
Yep.
even heard of this franchise until a year ago, and then
Really?
I was shown the first movie, and it's ironic that we're talking about Nightmare on Elm Street, because I was gonna say I slept on the franchise, but,
It's
but yeah, I'd never even heard of it, and then I was shown that first movie, and like we talk about, if you're gonna suspend someone upside down and literally cut them in half from the crotch downward to the head, I'm like, all right, you might have something to say here. I'm
yeah.
gonna pay attention. Like,
Yep. Yeah,
if you
it's
want
just
visuals, that's visuals.
yeah. It is just awesome. It's like I say, it's exactly what I come to horror movies to see. It's kind of like, one of these years we got to get to this movie. I don't know if you've ever seen it, or any of them. The third one's shit, but Human Centipede 2.
Oh,
Oh, that movie is amazing. I love the concept of it, because the first one sounds so gross, like 3 people being tied, like, butt to mouth, whatever, making a human centipede. and it sounds like the worst thing ever. And then you watch it and you go, okay, well, it's gross and horrifying and everything, but it's not as bad as I thought it would be. And the director heard all these people saying it's not as bad as I thought it would be, and he was like, "All right, fuck you, watch this." And that's why it had to be black and white, because some of it is so heinous that to show it in color is just, you can't. It wouldn't get released in theaters. So I there's so many things wrong with that movie, wrong in that movie, I should say. I just love it. I just love it. It's the only time I've watched a movie and I had to get up in the middle of it and just walk around for a quick second. like there was one part I was like, oh God, like this is like, whew, man. So
that is high praise, man. So yeah, we're gonna be watching this dude apparently at Christmas time eviscerating people. So
Yep.
I have to rewatch the first one. I have to watch the second one, and then I got to get to the theater for the third one. So there's some homework involved in the next 2 weeks. I'm gonna be watching a lot of Art the Clown.
The second one is kind of ridiculous, but if you liked the gratuitous gore in the first one, Terrifier 2 just, it's, dude, he's put it this way, one of his weapons is a table leg with nails and cutlery and shit sticking out of the tip and the end of it in all directions. It's it's just, as soon as you just see that weapon, you're like, oh, this is gonna be amazing. Like, you just know it's gonna be great, dude. It's just gonna be great. So yeah.
All right, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to
Yes.
that. Okay, so October 23rd, we're gonna talk all 3 Terrifier movies.
Yes.
And is Art the Clown like officially ensconced in the pantheon of horror villains, or is this just a kind of breath in the wind, you know?
Well, I mean, he's got 3 movies, and at least these days, like, I mean, oh, I forgot about that. Joseph Wren says the second one comes with a heavy dose of salt and bleach. You're welcome. All right, there we go. Miranda, good to see you, by the way, Miranda. She says, I watched the first Human Centipede on a first date. I think if I was to go on a first date,
she reenacted it on the second one.
Ooh. That was actually well played, my friend. I have to admit, if I ever went out with a girl, it's like, yeah, we should do on our first date, let's go see Human Centipede. I'd be like, well, you're definitely getting a few more dates out of me if you'd like them, because just that suggestion is badass. But yeah. All right. So October 23rd, we'll be right back here at all of our fine locations, talking all things Terrifier, parts 1, 2, and 3. So tune in for that on Wednesday, October 23rd at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Once again, guys, we are brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/NHC for your 30-day trial and a free audiobook download. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe button, and smash that notification bell on whichever of the YouTube channels you are watching on if you have not done it already. If you would like to get customizable Nerfherder Council swag, just go to shop.nerfherdercouncil.com. If you would like to get some awesome virtual Cantina Network swag, go to tpublic.com/user/virtual-cantina. And guys, this has been a blast. We're going to have some other watch-alongs coming up here in the near future. And AJ, thanks for going along with my movie suggestion. I feel like I should let you pick the next one, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So in the meantime, we'll see you in the meantime, we'll see you in 2 weeks talking all things Terrifier. Until then, I am your host, JT. He is AJ.
At Drake Adams 579, and special shout out to Joseph Wren for being the engineer of tonight's show. Thank you so much for doing that screen share for us.
That was going to be my close as well. So thank you very much, Joe. Love you, buddy. Much appreciated. And guys, until next time, we will see you later.